Alright, today I'm going to build me another Unraid box. I have the Roswell 4U case and it's up there, so it's really too big to show on camera. But what I'm going to put into it is I'm going to put in the Prime Z790 ASUS board. I got 32 gigs of RAM, and I got the iCore i3-700K, and I got my thermal paste, and I got a AK620 cooler. So we're going to put that together. That's going to be my new Plex machine, and then I'm just going to take my hard drives out and just transfer it over. So let's get started.
Alright, so here we got the board. Comes with the antenna just for Wi-Fi. Comes with SATA cables, and then some extra, hard to see, but the extra stoppers. So let's put this thing together. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this and then put my processor in. So I'm just going to flip this up and set the processor in and close it. So we got this piece open now, and just going to set the processor in right there. Alright, so I got the processor in there. Right here is like a little triangle, so we know where to put it in. It should just snap in there pretty easily. Shouldn't have to force anything. And then we'll just close it on up. Alright, so now we can see the processor is securely in there. So we just closed it up, and it should be good to go. Alright, so I got this DeepCool cooler. As you can tell, it's going to be pretty big on this board, but that's okay. It'll keep the processor cool. Probably a little bit overkill, but it's what we got. So these holes, like right up here, that's where we're going to mount it to. So it looks like I'm going to take this bracket here, and put it on the bottom of the board, fasten it in. That way I have something to mount the fan to. Alright, so I got these brackets right here installed. And then if you look on the bottom of the board, that's the X that was that we had to put in, and then we put these brackets on. Then this is going to mount right up on there. So the next thing we're going to have to do is just to put on some thermal paste, and then kind of go from there. Alright, so after looking at this, once I put this on where it's supposed to, it kind of covers up my RAM bank down there. So what I'm going to end up doing is just probably put in the RAM first. And I'm going to end up putting them in these two gray slot because it's dual. And that's the recommendation on this motherboard. Alright, so I already got the RAM in to the A2 and B2 slots. So they're in there. And then I'm going to put some thermal paste here before we put on the fan. Alright, so I went ahead and put my thermal paste. Just make a little smiley face. Good enough. So put the fan on now. Alright, so here we go. The next thing we got to do is get this in a case, get the fans are installed, and we're good to go. And like I said, put it in the case and then plug it up. Alright, so I got my case here. So if we look at it really quick, we got plenty of room for drives, and then we got the 5 1/4 bays, so we should be good to go. So let's take this bar off here, and we'll put our motherboard in and hook it up. Alright, so I got all the cords plugged in. So you can see it, I got the cords that's hooked to my cases with my reset and LED and everything else. My fans and everything hooked up. The only thing I got to do now is put in the power supply, which I got this RMX 850, and we're just going to throw that in there and then plug everything. Alright, so I got everything installed in. Everything's running and working. So if I can look over here, got my BIOS all set up. And then we'll just have to put in the hard drives and transfer from my old Unraid to this one. Alright, so I'm going to take these bays out right here. And I'm going to take this cooler with my hard drives and I'm going to place it right there, and that way I'll still have extra room. Alright, so we got that in there. You can tell it's a nice little clean fit, and right there, plus when I put this bay back on, I'll still have room for extra drives. Alright, so I got my drives in. Everything's nice and clean. So what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to put in this card if I can have extra SATA ports, because that only has 4 and I have 6 drives. So I'm going to throw this in there, hook it up, and then put it back together. Alright, now that we got all the hard drives in, everything's plugged up, the only other thing that we have to do is put the USB stick in from our old machine, and we'll just plug it in. Maybe. There you go. And then we'll fire it up and just test to see if it works. Alright, so here we are at the front. Go ahead and hit power. Everything seems like it's working. And then we'll go over here, and then we'll see if we start getting connection. There we go. All up there, so now we just have to do some quick configuration to it. Alright, so this fan right here, if we look at my case, it's not going to fit. My top's too big. So if I try to slide my case on, what's going to happen is it hits the fan. So I'm going to Dremel out a hole up here just for my fan to fit. Alright, so I Dremeled a hole out, so now my fan fits. I know it's kind of yanky, but I really didn't feel like going back to the store. So there we have it, my case with my fan.
Alright, so we got this thing in my case. As you can tell, it fits, so everything's looking good, and we'll show you the stats here in a sec. Alright, so what we can tell here is that we did our upgrade. So we went from like 16 logical cores all the way up to 24 logical cores. We took a small hit on RAM, but I think that's okay. I think this Plex machine is going to run a lot better now. So thank you.